life will be a lot simpler if we just follow directions.
I don't be following. It's more fun for me to just figure it out myself.
My approach was just always, I look at steps 1 and 2 and then be like, you know what? I got this.
A square go with a square, a circle go with a circle. I know what the finished result is supposed to look like, so hopefully all these screws the same size. I got a screw gun. I got a screw. See some holes. See what happens.
Get on my motherfucking face.
Please.
Push the goddamn button.
Action.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Grae Area podcast.
Grae.
Yes. I'm Shakoya G.
Badman Breezington here.
It's your boy Damani.
And welcome to the Grae Area if this is your first time here, and welcome back if this is not your first time here. This is the podcast where we love to talk about regular life from a creator's perspective. Mm-hmm. We like to break down the fabrics of life because not everything is always black and white, which in layman's terms means we like to talk about whatever we feel like talking about. It could be love, it could be life, it could be music, it could be movies, it could be anything or nothing at all. We have interesting conversations and we just love to bring you guys in on them and hopefully inspire you to have your own. But yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. What's up, Eric? Doing great.
Hey, Eric.
Salutations or greetings.
That was like the quickest response as far as like how y'all are doing, so it kind of threw me off for a second.
I am doing phenomenal.
Okay. What about you?
Good.
Yeah, like, build it up. Good. Great.
Right. I'm just gonna extend the word. Okay.
How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing so amazing that and if I was doing any more amazing, I would need 12 people to carry me or something like that. Y'all know. If you know, you know. What are we talking about today?
Today we talking about following directions. Me personally, I feel like people too smart not to follow directions. Actually, let me scratch that. Life will be a lot simpler if we just follow directions. I'm not saying follow the rules. I'm just saying follow the directions. Directions, rules, two different things. Go ahead.
What's the difference between directions and rules?
Directions is where we're going or how to get to this certain place. Rules are like confinement.
Okay.
Restrictions.
You got any thoughts?
I always have some thoughts. Do I have organized thoughts? That's a different question.
All right.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you got it.
I have a question, but it's not... Okay. Anyways, the question is, because you're talking about following directions, and I have a question specifically for you, because I know your answer already. I can ask you, but when you are putting something together, like building something or anything like that, and it comes with directions, do you read them or do you just disregard them and decide you know how to put it together, you're going to figure it out?
A lot of times now I read them or at least look at the pictures. A lot of times it's an A with whatever type of nail is needed, and I see what part go with what part. So I look at the directions. I follow the directions.
Okay.
I don't read every word unless something go wrong, and then I gotta start over. But I look at the directions.
Okay, what about you?
So a good 80% of the time, I'm not reading the directions to start. The only reason I'm going to the directions is if I encounter an issue that I couldn't figure out where things are going. The other 20% of the time, I'll look at it as a reference point. Okay, cool, this is where we started. I know this is where we started, and I can kind of put the pieces together. And then I end up going until I can't go anymore. And I move forward. So most of the time, no. When it comes to building things, specifically building things, no. But
Let's be
Yeah.
clear.
I just wanted to be clear, yeah. Just in that regard, I don't be following. It's more fun for me to just figure it out myself.
Okay, so then my follow-up question was, is that also your approach to life?
To some degree, it just depends on what it is. There's a lot of things. That's why I said when it comes to building things, building things definitely. When it comes to other stuff, I definitely take that approach with other stuff as well. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not unwilling to look at the directions. I'm more engaged with the process when you don't give me direction than when somebody gives me direction. Because once they gives me direction, it's like, all right, I just gotta follow these steps. The child in me, or my inner child part of me, it looks at it like, boo, this is boring. It's like, all right, I don't want to follow your rules. Let's do something else. And it doesn't feel like there's a lot of room for adventure. So that's why I'm like that. But in a general sense, I think I follow directions.
Is that your approach to life? What you said, not his, based on your answer.
Yeah, I know. I probably could follow more direction in life. Yeah, I think I could follow more direction in life. The thing with directions, it'd be very wordy. So if you give me pictures and little captions, or like A goes with this, then I could, A go with this, B goes with this.
Okay.
Put the two together. So it'll just be a lot of words.
So you need more visuals as far as directions, and you need like some blank spaces left. So maybe like they give you the first two directions, and then step 3 is missing, and then
That's funny.
let's just figure out
only with
something.
building. Only with building.
Only with building.
That brain gonna fall.
Yeah, nah. I don't even need steps to be missing. I think I just need more of a. I don't need you to tell me what to do. Give me space to figure out what to do, and if I hit a roadblock, then kind of guide me from there.
You want a riddle with hints.
I guess so.
Blues Clues. I was gonna ask, do you follow direction in life?
In
Do
life,
you build things?
Yeah, I build things.
Well, when you build
I'm
things,
a crafter. Yeah.
I mean, so when you first made your first pen, did you follow directions, or you just like, I could do that?
Oh no, I had to actually look that stuff up.
Right.
I didn't know what they was doing. I didn't even know what material was used. But like when we built the TV stand, because we built that together, I was looking at the directions. He was not. So when I'm building something, I like to look at the directions, because I also like to organize the different nails and bolts and stuff like that. Like, just make sure they're set where they need to be at, and then I'll match stuff up and, put it together from there. So I actually like to follow the directions when I'm building stuff. Now, in life, I could follow some more directions.
Follow the direction.
I can follow. I think that in life, I'm learning now to actually follow the directions. Because before, I used to... my approach was just always, I look at steps 1 and 2 and then be like, you know what? I got this. Let me just go ahead and do this. It's going to come out great. Then I can add my little flair to it. And like, let's say it is a bookshelf or something. That thing is going to collapse.
Like mine. I missed the stud. Speaking of studs, sometimes it's great to call professionals. So I had a friend. She was trying to mount a TV. And I was like, I mounted mine. I could do that. So I went over there trying to mount the TV. I couldn't even find the stud. And I'm like, I mean, I found it at my house.
Well, I just knocked on the
Knocked on the
wall.
wall and I found it.
Your drywall too thick.
This must be a new construction.
There's something faulty with the way they build your house. I don't know what they did, but it's not supposed to work like that.
Yeah, so sometimes the direction is to call a professional. So ended up calling a professional.
That's too funny. But yeah, so for me in life, I can follow more directions. I'm learning now to follow more directions. And it's actually helping, you know.
That's good.
It's helping a lot, following directions.
I was just gonna say, I feel like ego and pride aids in us not following direction. So feeling like we already know, already had the answers, already been here before. I feel like that influences us not to follow the direction.
I agree sometimes. Because I feel like some people just hard-headed. I mean, or are adverse. Because, like, some people don't like listening to other people, or just, like, it might be like they're adverse to authority or anything like that. So anytime they get any type of direction or something, they're like, I don't want to do that just because you said it. But if it was their own idea, then they'll be like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So I think that's part of it sometimes, but I also think that some people just be like, I just don't want to follow. I don't want to follow directions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know for me, I don't have issues following directions. So, like, once I decide that I'm gonna follow somebody's directions, I'm all the way there. You got it. I'm not gonna deviate because I've decided, okay, I'm gonna follow your directions. I've come into contact with other people who they start off following directions, and then halfway through it, you like, I could do this better than the person that's teaching me. Like, if you could do it, you wouldn't be here. You know, so, but I think, I know also for me, part of the reason why when it comes to building things, I like to not follow directions though, it could be ego, it could be pride. A part of me feels like when I follow somebody's directions, you rob me of the opportunity of figuring it out myself. And that's a big thing for me. I like, not necessarily saying that I have to figure out everything myself, but I enjoy figuring it out myself, because if I just do what you say, then I'll never know if I was able to figure it out. So during the times where I don't follow directions, that's the main reason why.
So if the goal was to build a bookshelf, why is it important for you to figure out how to build a bookshelf if you don't even want to be a carpenter?
That was good.
One more time. If the goal is to build a bookshelf, why does it matter if I could do? It could just be a thing where I don't like the idea of me not being able to do something, not being able to figure it out. I'm okay with not being able to do it to start, but me not being able to figure it out, I don't like how that sounds.
So that's pride and ego.
Yeah. that's probably what it was. And I mean, again, there's a process. Some stuff I understand that I'm not gonna know how to do it off rip. With the bookshelf, like we did for Kayla Ray, I didn't look at any directions. I just put it together.
I don't even remember. Was I there?
I thought so.
I don't remember putting the bookshelf together.
That white bookshelf? I don't know. Either way, it got put together. I wasn't in the room. I don't even remember what I was doing. I just wasn't in the room.
He was probably secretly looking at the directions. They came out like, yeah, we did it. Alpha man. I don't need no direction. Tore up the directions.
No, but
probably yelled down the hall like, yo, this box don't even got no directions. Man, guess I gotta do it myself then.
Can you imagine though, somebody really not wanting to follow direction that bad that they threw out the directions and acted like it wasn't in the box? You know what I hate though? This is a total side note. When you get something and the directions they don't have an English version of the directions.
I was hoping you wasn't gonna say that.
Because,
wasn't that lock that we got?
Yes. Because it's also like, I don't know how to read any other languages yet. Like,
I didn't even intend on learning to read this language.
Right, not German. That's not the one I was learning. Like, at least give me a little bit of Spanish. I can read a couple words in there. But
when I tell you, I had no idea that that's what you were going to do. I thought you were going to say, yeah, I hate when I open up the directions and the directions are unclear.
Oh, no. That's very unclear for me.
I meant in English, unclear. Yo, that's funny. That's funny.
Oh man.
When it's unclear in English, I'll look at the pictures more than anything. But yeah, if it come and it's a different language and it don't have like no English directions, and maybe that's a me thing. Maybe I do need to learn how to read in German. But I bought this in the U.S.
You should at least know the German word for hammer, for screw,
I need
for Allen key.
I can
That's it.
not-
That way you know how to build anything. You know what I'm saying?
I just found out what an Allen key was a couple years ago.
That's crazy.
I just knew it was a little twisted thing.
Yeah,
That's what you called it, the little twisted thing?
The little thing.
that's what you need. You need to know how to say that in about 5 languages, so that you always prepared to build something impromptu. That's
And
it.
that's why you need to call a professional.
Hey yo,
Because that's probably why that lock broke so quick. Because we ain't know what we was doing.
crazy. So I got a question for y'all. When y'all are not following directions, what is the reason when you guys don't follow directions? What's like the prime reason?
For me, sometimes I don't feel like reading. Like, I'm here, so I could do it. I don't feel like reading. So a lot of times now, I know I don't need to do this at this moment. I might need a nap. I might need some time to just wind down.
Oh, because they gave you some extra words?
Yeah.
Too many words.
That's funny. That's funny. I can't even be mad at that.
Gotta be in the mood to read, like, and then the words be little. It's not like it's like
That is
old
true.
people font. It's like
Fine print.
fine print.
Mm-hmm.
Fine print. My goodness. I'm like, you know what? A square go with a square, a circle go with a circle. I know what the finished result is supposed to look like. So hopefully all these screws the same size. I got a screw gun. I got a screw. See some holes. See what happens. It's supposed to be this tall. It's supposed to be this tall. When I'm done with it, 10 shelves.
And
We
then
can do it.
when he done, it come up to here.
Like they did. I don't know what happened.
One time I ain't have enough screws. So then I had to go back and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's short screws and little screws. I put all the big screws with it.
Hey yo, go ahead before I.
So like my primary reason for not following directions like in life is typically because I'm just rushing through it. So I'm like, all right.
Slow down.
I'll be like, all right, I already know this. Let me just go to the next part. All right, okay. This seems reasonable, self-explanatory. I don't need to know that part. That's common sense. Let me move on. And then you start doing stuff, and then you realize the part that you thought was common sense, you ain't do that yet. So it must not have been common sense. So then you gotta backtrack and start all over again.
I'll be there. That'd be a reason too. Rushing.
Yeah, I'll be rushing. So that's typically the primary reason. And then sometimes it's kind of like a combination of that. I mean, that is mixed with the I already know this type of thing, which is why I'm like, I could skip this step. Or, this don't apply to me. But it be applying.
Mm-hmm.
These be general directions.
My goodness. I was gonna say that's funny. I was gonna tell Breeze's point about the shelves. The amount of times I learned this from my dad. He used to say we would work on something. We built a bunk bed before, right? And we worked on it, and then by the end of it, he'd be like, "There's just some extra screws. They gave you some extra screws." and then growing up, I was like, "Yeah, okay, they gave you extra screws." And then one of the days when I was an adult and I was building something, I'm like, they gave me exactly the right amount. They didn't give me one extra. What if I lost one? And I was like, "Oh wait, you're not supposed to get no extra screws."
Typically, they give you one extra screw. From my
Yeah.
understanding and my experience, you always have one extra
At
screw.
least one, maybe two if it's a different size.
See,
They only give me one.
extra.
One of the big The big screws, none of the little ones.
And then my thought process when I was younger was like, well, I mean, if they gave us extra screws and we built it without the extra screws, clearly there was a break in the manufacturing. You could have did this with less effort. I did it. Don't be mad at me because I did this with less effort.
And that's why he think he got to figure it out on his own because it'd be extra.
If it stand up, if the bookshelf stand up and hold the books, and it requires less of the screws that they ask for, and it don't fall apart.
But is it secure though?
It's secure. It didn't fall apart.
I just not feeling safe.
It's all right. It's cool.
Not feeling safe.
It's all right. It's cool. It's cool. It's just me.
It
I told
is.
you when it comes to building things,
It's
not. Yeah, it's just
and
me.
This is why I read the directions because he's not.
I'm like, hey, you doing that wrong. It said E goes with F.
Right, you got C over here with F, and now the whole thing about to tip over.
See, and you know what the beautiful thing is? Whenever I'm doing it, if I see I can't go, there's a place of almost no return, I can always turn back. I can always unscrew something, you know? Let me move back. We went too far. We went a little bit too far. That was my bad. I wasn't building a bookshelf anymore. All right. I was about to say I'm building the staircase, but a boat is definitely.
Either way, it's not a bookshelf.
Oh, man.
Do it hold the book.
Does it hold? Is it steady? You know what I'm saying? I know what you came in for, but you got something that's so unique now.
This is perceived value.
Yeah,
you gotta give the people what they didn't. You gotta let the people leave with what they didn't even know they needed. That's good. He's on to something.
I'm saying, you know.
They want a bookshelf, I'll give you a boat. Come on now.
Cause you could hold your books while you on your boat.
Yup. Just like water.
I don't want to hold my books. I got the bookshelf so I wouldn't have to hold my books.
It's all right. It's all right. What if the bookshelf was supposed to be designed like a boat?
That's not what the instructions said.
Well, I don't know that because I didn't read them. I didn't read them. What you want me to?
That's funny.
Anyway. Point being, yeah, I just, it just depends on the thing. When it comes to, so outside of the stuff with that involves pictures, right? If it doesn't have, if it's something that somebody's giving you instructions, and I asked Breeze first because I guess he was one saying if it's too many words. If it's too many words with something that doesn't have pictures, are you still not following directions?
I have to prepare myself to read. So if I'm in a mood where I don't feel like reading, we're going to have to wait till I feel like reading.
Oh, man, that's funny. That's funny.
This reminds me of like the 12-week year when we were because none of us followed the directions the first.
It ain't come with pictures.
The first 3 times.
That's hilarious.
The audio books don't come with worksheets.
That's crazy.
The first 3 times, none of us, first of all, read the book, so we didn't have any actual instructions to follow, except for a YouTube video that we watched. And at the end, she said she didn't finish the book either. Oh, man. But then once we actually read the directions, like we went through the full directions. When we read them directions, we was all in. We did all of the steps. We reread them. We worked together to put together a plan. And we had, 3, 4, how many 12-week years have we done so far?
A lot.
Like 3 or 4 12-week years that have been successful since actually reading the directions. So, I mean, for me, the pictures aren't like, I don't necessarily need the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I would like them to be in English so that I can read them at this time. Once I learn more languages, give me whatever language you want. But for right now,
except German.
I'm gonna learn German.
You gonna learn German?
Yeah.
She gonna learn how to say Allen key in German.
Yep. Hammer, saw. It's just I'm gonna learn the words. Because honestly, German is probably the closest language. Like
English. Or
I mean, this is a Germanic language. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Germans.
Okay. Word. Shout out to them.
Okay. Once we follow the instructions, huh?
I was gonna ask, was there any like issues with America and Germany? Like
You know,
historically.
I think that's where Hitler was.
Yeah, you know, World War.
Word.
Yeah.
That's why you laughed?
Yes, because I was okay. Yeah, he said, was there any historical things that happened when it comes to Germany? All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
So you were being sarcastic when you said, I think that word. You was being facetious, that's the word?
Yeah, that's
When
the
you was
word.
like, I think that's where Hitler was. Or you was actually thinking and saying that.
No, I was actually thinking of saying that because I was
Yeah.
like, Stalin was in Russia. I think
Yeah,
Hitler. I
yeah,
think
it
Germany was the one.
Yeah, it was Germany. Yeah, it was definitely Germany.
You know, I
Whole World War.
Oh, World War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What you about to say?
No. I was going to ask a question, but my question was answered.
Okay. Oh
I
my
study
God.
mindfulness. I study mindfulness. I don't study history. I just want to let y'all know, put that disclaimer out there.
But you were taught history.
I mean, I was listening.
But that was
He wasn't following directions.
I had friends when I was in
That's
grade school.
crazy. He said we ain't had no
That's what he
friends.
said.
No, I ain't say that.
What
But
That's what you said
I was
without
listening-
saying
I was
it.
talking to my friends.
Yeah.
I was listening to the teacher.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't know that though. You know, it just slipped my mind.
but yeah, I mean, the people there today, you know, it's should be different. You know, I heard there's a decent amount of black people out there too.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Well,
That's
back-
good.
back-
Shout out
Back
to
to
the
the
black
direction.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, back to the directions because we clearly did not follow the directions of this conversation and we just got off track. So, what's your next question, sir? Because I ain't got one.
Oh wow, that's crazy. What would make it more conducive for you guys to follow directions?
What would make it more conducive for us to follow
Yeah,
directions?
what would help you guys
Well,
follow more
to
directions?
stay on brand, I would say less words. Probably more sleep though. Like, just to prepare myself to follow directions.
So for you, it's like you need to have the self-care routine going before you go into.
I have to be mentally prepared to follow these directions.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what it is. But yeah, mental preparation
Go ahead.
before I go into whatever it is.
For me, I just got to decide I'm actually going to follow the directions, and I'm not going to rush. Like that's really my only thing is like, all right, I'm going to enjoy just literally making a decision. I'm going to enjoy this process, so that means I'm not going to rush through it because there's no need to rush through it. And if I want it done right, I'm going to follow the directions.
That's good. That's good.
That's like my main thing. What about you?
What would help me follow more directions? I think I follow the directions in a general sense. I think I follow directions pretty well. Again, when it comes to building,
All right, let's say you didn't follow directions.
I was.
Then- or we could say, what helps you to continue to follow directions well? What's your motivation to follow the directions?
What's my motivation to follow directions? Outside of the end result, because it's usually just the end result. But I guess a good. It just depends on what the thing is. So, if we're talking, I don't know, if we're talking like finance or something like that, the end result is enough for me to follow directions, just to see if somebody has it right. But it just depends on what it is. Like, go ahead.
Let's talk about mixing.
What would help me in mixing?
To follow the directions.
I've been started following directions. Once I realized that I wasn't getting it right by myself, the failure helped me follow directions. That was one thing, but I guess for me, a lot of it is me having enough room to fail so that I can figure out what I'm not doing right, and sometimes me failing and figuring out why the person told me to go left is more valuable than them just telling me to go left. So you could tell me go left, but until I fail and figure out why, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes I fail and figure out why you decided to go left, then I won't know. Otherwise, I'm just doing it because you said it.
Well, what if they told you to go left and they told you why?
Like, well, I wanted to see what was on the right side.
I mean, so in most cases, I would do it, so it probably would help. I don't have too many times where I don't follow the directions. Again, once I decide to, but during the times where I don't, it's because I don't understand I don't want to say the reasoning, but I don't have enough space to kind of figure out what's happening. So if it feels like you're doing the thinking for me, I don't like that. I'd much rather have an opportunity to think about what's going on here, because otherwise I don't remember it. I'm just following your directions, and I'm okay with following your directions if I know at the end of this, if we're talking about mixing, at the end of this I'm gonna have a fire mix.
I will say that also keeps me from like following directions completely. Not like sometimes I need to know why I'm doing something so that it makes sense to me in my mind. Because I also don't necessarily always like to blindly just follow directions. So it's like if you could explain to me, especially if it comes to like mixing or just something that I'm not used to doing, it's like if you can tell me why I'm doing this, I can actually understand what's happening. If you just tell me to do it and I just do it, then 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna, especially if you're teaching me to do something that I'm gonna supposed to be able to replicate on my own, like replicate the process later, I'm not gonna be able to do it because I don't understand why I just did this thing. So I'm not even gonna remember to do it. So a lot of times I need some added, or I would say I would like some added explanation so that I can actually learn the process of whatever I'm doing. It just helps me.
So I know I don't always need one, but do you guys need a why before you start doing things?
Sometimes.
As long as I know why I'm getting directions, I'll be fine. I don't always need you to tell me why we're doing this, because I know I came to you for a reason. I know I came to you because I don't know.
For me, I'd be like, what is the thought process behind this? Because I'm not gonna remember it. So if you tell me, like, I need to get in your business a little bit. Like, why are we doing this? So then I can be like, oh, even if I forget, if I did the last step, I can be like, okay, the next step has to do with this thing, and then it'll help me to remember going forward, like how to go through the process. So for me, sometimes I need an explanation, sometimes I don't. It depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't necessarily need to know why. I usually find out why by the end. So even if I'm following directions and I'm like, I don't really know where you taking me here. By the time I get to the end of it, I usually figure out why I either feel like I'm supposed to be here or what I can take from this scenario.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes at the end, I'll be like, oh, so did we do this because of this? Because I still be wanting to know why why we did this. But yeah, I really think it just depends. And it depends on, because even if you say, like, if you're instructing me on how to do something, like let's say we're driving down the street, you're telling me where to go, and I'm like, well, why are we turning left? And you say, just trust the process, then I'll be quiet and I'll trust the process, and I'll be processing it in my head, though, as we go along. And then as I discover things, I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that cow was over there. You wanted me to see that cow. So what's the significance of the cow?
Well, a cow is black and white. You came from the Grae Area, and you cannot make gray without a black and without a white. So I brought you to a cow so you can see the congruency between the black and the white.
That's good. That's good.
You know, you got to be able to live in the gray.
Yeah. And I'll be like, you mind if I take some notes on that? That was really...
Word, just quote me.
Can you say it again into the recording?
Say it in German.
No, but yeah, I don't always need the why. Do you feel like you? Well, you said you don't.
Yeah, no, I to be honest, the why doesn't.
It doesn't always do anything.
It doesn't really do anything for me. It's because I have to just. For me, the why doesn't do anything for me because once I've decided that I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it, and I'll figure out what. Like the why isn't gonna make a difference of whether or not I want to do it or not. Most times. Like the why is like, all right, most of the time I'm going to make my decision before I get there. And then like, I know what my decision is. Why you feel like I need to do this isn't going to help me. Is it going to help me do the thing better?
Sometimes it does. And knowing the why, sometimes it allows you the free will to tweak it. So like, if I know why I'm doing this, it's like, okay, I'm doing this to get this result, but I don't want this exact result. So I wanted to, like, if we mixing, I wanted to sound more like this. So I did this because I wanted to sound like everybody else's. But now I'm going to tweak it a little so I can sound like
yourself.
Me.
But do you tweak it after you've already gone through the whole process, or do you tweak it before you get to the end process?
Nah, but I'm saying, like, if you know why, the next time you do something else, like when you do it again,
right.
It's easier for you to create your own thing because you know the reason and why. And I feel like the best teachers know why they're telling you to do stuff. So in order for you to pay it forward, you should know why. Right. I mean, granted, I don't always be needing to know why because I know why I came to you, but after me speaking that wisdom, I might, need to know why.
I to answer your question though, I tweak it after. But I like to know, like, okay, what difference did this just make? So, like, if we are talking about mixing a song, all right, I did everything that you told me to do. Why did we add, like, what is this reverb doing? Or, like, listening back and, like, hearing the difference between it on and off. So then I can make my own tweaks, or I can understand whether or not I like this thing, if I want to continue to have it or whatever. So I think, so for me, I'll do your full process, but I want to know what these different elements are, because sometimes what happens is, depending on what you're learning, some people will just teach you the process to just like tell you do this, and not tell you what anything is. And if we're sticking on music, if your ear is not trained enough, or if it's another type of art form, or just like life, if you're not trained to look, see, hear whatever they're making changes to, then you just don't know what just happened. You just know you got an end result that sound or look or feels a lot better than where you started, but you wouldn't even know how to get here again. Oof.
I feel
on
you.
Purpose.
Yeah, I feel you. I was gonna say, I agree, but I know for me, it depends on what it is. Mixing isn't the best example for this, but I'm just gonna continue it because we've been talking about it.
This is a different example.
Nah, because I can't think of nothing right now.
Oh,
so
I couldn't either.
But I think explaining to me why after we got the end result, depending on what it is, might actually be better than you telling me each individual step sometimes. So if we're sticking with mixing, if I do what you said and I get the result, and like, a lot of times along the process, I'm asking myself questions. I'm looking at something like, oh, okay, that's cool. That sounds different. That's just how my brain is naturally working. So then by the time I get to the end, you're like, all right, we're here now. If you go back and explain, you can explain it to me based on what I just did, and it's like, okay, cool. It can work that way. It's not mixing is a little different because understanding why you're adding certain elements helps you to know, all right, in the future, this is when you apply it. But I think there's other things, can't think of an example right now, unfortunately, but some things that after you've gone through the process, now they can tell, at least for me, from what I've seen, now they can tell you where you can embellish. Maybe I like that better. Just tell me where I can embellish and mix it up for myself later, but I'll follow your process now.
An example that I just thought of was doing like food swaps. So swapping out different ingredients so that food is what you're making is either plant-based completely or like gluten-free. Because a lot of times, sometimes when you, okay, let me breathe. As I've gone on this journey of changing my diet, some of the things it's like, oh, you can replace this with this. It's an egg replacement. Oh, you can use flaxseed or you can use chia seed. But and like, yeah, cool, it works, but sometimes you don't really know why it works. You just know that it works, and it's like, all right, well, am I missing anything from the egg that was in there now that I'm not using the egg and I'm using flax seeds or chia seeds? Like, what is this actually doing? What was the egg's job in whatever I was making? And now what is the flaxseed's job in whatever I'm making? And like, is it actually doing the same thing? Or are you just telling me that I could just throw this in there? I think sometimes stuff like that is like, an explanation does help. I can blindly follow what you told me to do.
And I mean, you'll get whatever, you'll get your vegan cake.
Yeah, but also knowing why this works will help me to incorporate this method into other things as well. Yeah. So even if I'm baking or cooking any other thing, I know exactly why this works because it's binding everything together. And like, I also know now that it's not gonna look and feel exactly like an egg. It's just gonna do the job that the egg was doing. So just keeping those things in mind. So like, I think that's an example where whether you get the information before you do it or after you do it, you can still get the result. But I think it depends on the person for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree with that last thing that you said. It depends on the person. I was thinking about the why matters depending on how far are you going to take this information or how far you want to go with whatever it is, whether it be cooking, mixing. I was thinking like a more base level thing, like when you at a job, if you're training people, you could train them do this, this, and this, or you could train them do this, 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 because if this happens, then just
do this other thing.
Yeah. But the extra information, so the why and the reasoning behind doing certain stuff, the importance level hinges on how far you want to take this. So like, if you're at a job and you're like, I'm only gonna be here for a couple weeks, just tell me what buttons to push. I don't need to know why. Just tell me what buttons to push and I'm gonna get it done. Or if you're like, I want to be upper management, I'm trying to grow with the company, knowing why will be very helpful. For you to get into where you want to go. So I guess your reasoning for getting the help,
or getting the information.
Yeah, getting the help or extra information is, that extra help and information depends on how your reasoning for getting the help and information.
Or doing the thing.
Yeah,
your reason for doing the thing.
Yeah, like when I was first learning Japanese, there was certain stuff that I was getting wrong. They didn't explain to me why I was getting it wrong, and they didn't really explain why I was getting it right. So like, some stuff I would get it wrong because it was a grammatical error or whatever it was. I say get it wrong. Let's say I got it. I say I got it wrong because it was a grammatical error, or I just did something. I did something like, oh, okay, this if I can do this here, that means I can do this here. And then when I would get it wrong, I wouldn't know why I got it wrong. I would just know that is wrong. And then when I'm looking for an answer of like why is this one right versus the other one, I don't have that. I just have examples of the right answer. So sometimes I don't think the why isn't necessary at all. I think it's helpful. I just don't think it's always necessary for you to actually do the thing that you're attempting to do. Sometimes we just want the why just so we know, and the why isn't going to help you do more or less of the thing that you're looking to do.
Sometimes the why is less helpful. Like they give you too much information and you be like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore because I don't care.
Too many words. Don't give me too many words. Let me just let me throw me out there a little bit.
But I do think that so. It depends on, like we were saying, it depends on the person. It depends on why you're doing it. But also, yeah, I think before you start, you have to make the decision of whether or not you're gonna do it at all or not. I think that. I don't know. Like, sometimes I do want to know, like, why should I do this thing? But it's not always necessary. I can make the decision before. Because typically when you're about to do a thing, you know you have more information than you don't. Or than you like to believe that you have. So, like, we can use skydiving as an example, which we still haven't done yet, but we're going to do. Like, my decision to... So, he wanted to go skydiving. My decision to be like, all right, I'll go skydiving too. I didn't do a bunch of research. Like, I made the decision before I had any other information other than he wants to go skydiving. So, and he's wanted to go a long time. And I was just like, well, I'm being more bold in my choices. Let's just do it. So I think in cases like that, I guess that's like in general, like you don't always need extra information before you make your decision. It will be nice. I would like the extra information, but sometimes I don't. I
got a question. Is there anything that you guys wish you would have followed the directions sooner rather than later?
That's a good question. Is there anything that you wish you would have followed directions on sooner rather than later?
Something that I wish I would have followed the direction.
That's a good question.
One thing in particular. The directions from the Lord.
I mean,
that's
facts.
I was gonna say life.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah, my intuitions. Directions. Yeah,
internal guidance system.
Yeah, I would have. That's probably the main thing, because I think I always know when stuff doesn't feel afoot or something is afoot, and that's such a weird saying too. Something is afoot. Somebody got to do some Googles and figure out where that came from. But anyway, I feel like I can always tell when something is off, but I don't always follow that guidance. Feeling. Yeah, that guidance system.
You was done?
Yeah, that's all I had. I just mainly it's my intuition. That and probably somebody probably gave me some financial advice that I probably should have followed that direction early on, but whoever you were, I appreciate it. Sorry. Rebellious a little bit.
I feel like I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think that's the only thing that I could think of, is that if I would have followed the directions that were given to me first, like through my intuition, like by God, if I would have followed those a lot sooner, yeah, life will be very different right now. I think that's my thing. I'm taking your thing. It is now my thing.
All right.
What about you?
I would say
he's gonna take my thing too.
No, I want to, but I'm doing my best to do another thing. So
I'm generous. You can share.
All of the direction and guidance that was spoken to me, rather than what I've observed.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
people will tell you to do something because people will tell you to do something that they haven't done, but they're telling you to do this because they didn't do it,
Yeah.
and they don't want you to be
Where
where they are.
yeah.
Then it's like, but you ain't do it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So then
You
I'll be ending up where they are.
Yeah. It's because
y'all said go left, and I said but you ain't go left, so I ain't going left. Let's go right.
It's because you a visual learner. You to be able to see it. You told me that, but I ain't paying attention to what you said. I paid attention to what you did.
Yeah.
Seeing is believing.
Yeah. So that's besides listening to myself and God's instruction, the instruction God put through people to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Could have took some of that advice. But
Dang, yeah. I mean, but you live and you learn. Yeah. Go ahead.
I had another question. You
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think people follow your directions?
it depends on who they are. People who don't know me follow more direction than people that know me.
Facts. Yeah. Definitely.
That's good. That's good.
And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of times we talked about this before, like when you're very close to people, like you're too close to see the full thing, the full image or whatever. But I think some of it is also like people that are closest to you a lot of times see you in a very particular light. And sometimes the advice that you give them is outside of the scope of the light that they like to look at you in. So then they're like, well, I ain't about to listen to that. That's just Shakoy over there. And it's like, yes, but also you should listen to what I said. But I mean, I actually talked about this recently, though. Like, I needed to start listening to myself more.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, because it was like at a certain point in my life, other people were listening to me more than I was listening to myself. But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm listening to myself first, and then yeah.
So, since life is a mirror, are people not listening to you because you don't listen to you?
Yeah. Mhm.
Good.
That's what I gathered. Or they'll listen to part of it because I listened to part of it. And then you rush through the directions and be like, I know the rest of this is all right, you know. And then, so yeah, pretty much what I was doing and how I described me rushing through directions is like what some other people that are like closer to me typically do. But that's what I was doing. But I ain't doing that no more. I'm changed. Sorry.
Change.
What about you?
What part?
Both of them.
What was my question?
Both of them.
Both of them. You said do people listen in your direction?
Do people listen to my directions? I think. Nah, actually, hold on. It's about 50-50. There would be times where some of my friends would follow my directions. Actually, my friends wasn't following directions. It was they was doing their own thing. But that's probably why we were friends. So it's cool. No hard feelings. Love y'all. But people closest to me, it just depends on the subject. Some subjects that people will follow the exact directions. And a lot of times I'm telling people, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'll tell you this is what happened to me, just in case. And then the stuff happens, and you're like, yeah, I know you told me, but I didn't know you told me. You told me to be careful because if you go too fast when you're driving, it's gonna be hard to reel it back in. And you know, but when I was driving, I knew that happened to you, but I didn't think it was gonna happen to me.
Oh,
and I was like I'm telling you because my thought process was I wanted to go 100. So it's like, yeah, but all in all, it's 50-50. People closest to me, yes and no, depending on what the topic is. What was the second question you wanted?
Do you listen to do you think that they're not listening to you because you aren't listening to yourself?
Probably. I mean, just based off of life being a mirror, I'd probably say it's Yeah, that the outer is reflecting the inner a little bit. You know, it's unfortunate. I mean, I'm working on it. We done. We just going with the internal guidance system. But
Word.
yeah, I think that's definitely been happening.
I was gonna say I don't really feel like I give that much advice. I be wanting people to pick their own, like choose their own stuff. I might give examples or options, but I'm not gonna be like, yeah, do this. I'm like, this what I did, this was the result, or this is what I believe, but do your thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really give that much advice either. I don't think so. I don't think I give that much advice. But I'll be wanting people to have their own adventure because that'd be my thing. So, I mean, y'all know I don't even like telling people about stuff that's in books. I'm like, I'd rather you read it for yourself. I don't want you to come to, maybe you came to the same conclusion as me, maybe you get to a different one.
Yeah. I think for me, I do be giving out advice. I don't give out as much advice as I used to. Because I also want people to have their own experiences and stuff. And I also used to be giving out unsolicited advice, you know, had to learn from that when I was younger. So, yeah, I still be giving out advice, just not as frequently and not in the same ways that I used to. Yeah, because it's just, I got my own advice to give to myself and to take, so that's what I'm focused on.
All right.
But do y'all have any final thoughts on anything that we talked about today? Following directions.
I don't.
All right.
Nothing else.
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Grae Area Podcast.
Grae.
If you typically wait, what was one of the questions? You're gonna have to chop this. Comment below and let us know if you listen to your own advice, if you follow directions, how well do you follow directions, and if you could follow any directions a lot sooner in life, what would they be? That is what we want to know. What directions would you follow sooner in life? Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.
Yes, sir.
And if you like this video, you're going to like the next one that's linked somewhere on this screen. We will see you guys next week. Bye!
Adios.
Stay blessed. Stay black, people.
Got to be more careful.
You say what?
Know yourself. Know your worth.
Jukebox, hit me with another jam.
Get on my face. Get on my motherfucking face.
Please.
Push the goddamn button.